Coming up next, a little boy's viral video will inspire you, and I'm going to teach you what your response to the election results needs to be. We'll take your calls and your chats, and it all starts right now. I'm coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do that, and how you can get there. It is about your purpose, and we're going to look at your purpose through the lens of a major engagement portion of your life, and that is work. So we're going to look at your purpose overall, but then how you apply it in your work. And I can give you the clue. I don't know your details yet, but I can tell you this, that you were created to fill a unique role. You were needed. You must do it. Somebody out there needs you to be the best version of you in your work. And if you're sick and tired of not having any purpose on Monday mornings and getting queasy on Sundays, and you're just miserable before you even pull into the parking lot on Monday mornings, this show is for you. It is a free phone call for you to join the conversation, and it is a conversation. You have the answers. It's my job to identify them, pull them out of you, and maybe show you the connections and the patterns. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. Don't get caught up in all of the noise this week. And it is going to be noisy, okay? I'm just telling you, and we're going to touch on this a little bit later in the program. Whatever happens in this presidential election has very little to do with your dream, and I'm going to tell you how your response needs to look like. What is your response? We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the program. But first, Memphis, Tennessee, the source of this story. I, along with millions and millions of others, saw this story. 6-year-old boy by the name of Sam from Memphis, Tennessee, has been learning his ABCs. His ABCs. And his dad is brilliant. What a great dad. We should nominate this guy for Dad of the Year. So he teaches his son the ABCs by applying each of the letters of the alphabet to an actual job in the marketplace. And I thought, well, this is brilliant. And the kid, first of all, he's off the charts cute. He's ridiculously cute. But he wraps this ABCs, and he's got, again, a occupation or a contribution, using the Ken Coleman Show language, for every letter of the alphabet. And it's had millions and millions of views. So here's what we want to do. We wanted to play this for you. So, Joe, let's cue this up. And here is young Sam.
You ready, Sam?
Yeah.
We tell everybody what they can be when they grow up. They can be anything. You ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
You can be an A. You can be an architect. Get your building to kiss the sky. You can be a B. You can be a biochemist. Make medicine, save lives. You can be a C. Computer or software developer with programs and systems and files. You can be a D. You can be a dentist, cause everybody loves to smile. You can be an E. You can be an engineer, solve problems of all kinds. Chemical, mechanical, electrical, use the power of your mind. You can be an S. You can be a firefighter, fight fires in red trucks. You can be a G, gastroenterologist, deal with problems in the gut. You can be an H, hospital administrator, hospitals need leaders. You can be an I, intelligence officer, the FBI kind of people. You can be a J, you can be a judge, help people who seek justice. You can be a K, kindergarten teacher, those kids are young and restless. You can be an L, you can be a lawyer, cause people need to know their rights. You can be an M, mobile app developer, like the people that made Fortnite. You can be an N, you can be a nurse, medical care for the masses. You can be an O, optometrist, for people that need eyeglasses. You can be a P, paramedic, for medical emergencies. You can be a Q, quantum physicist, or particles and energy. You can be an R, researcher, find cures for disease. You can be an S, stockbroker, you get to work with money. You can be a T, truck mechanic, trucks are critical transportation. You can be a U, university president, more the future of your nation. You can be a V, video game designer, with Xboxes and PlayStations. You can be a W, developer. It's an online occupation. Now take that S. You can be your own boss, make an impact on the world. And with that Y, you can be your own boss. Tell me, boy and girl. And with that Z, Z's we strive. You can reach the sky if you try. Just don't be a Z. Just don't be a zombie. And let the world pass you by.
How about that? Don't be a zombie, zealously strive. Incredible stuff. Again, I want to congratulate Bobby White, who's the father here, who's done such a phenomenal job with young Sam. And that's incredible. And I got to tell you, of all of the letters, the one that blew my mind, I laughed out loud when I watched it at home this weekend, was G for gastroenterologist. I can't even say that. I think I struggled right there just to say that. So fantastic stuff. And here's why I showed that. I didn't just play that video to give you a warm, fuzzy feeling on a Monday morning. I think what's genius about this is as we talk to so many callers that call in, Ken, I don't know what I want to do, and I got to figure out my sweet spot. And then once I find my sweet spot, where my talent and my passion and my mission intersect, how do I find something in the marketplace? And as I was watching that video, I was thinking, you people need to do this. You need to go, okay, I know what my talent is, and that's what I use to do the work I love, my passion. And then I do that work to produce a result that matters deeply to me. And so I begin to look at the marketplace. And you ought to just do that little exercise. How many occupations, jobs, career paths in the A's are there? The B's, the C's. Now, let me tell you something. If a 6-year-old can walk through the letters of the alphabet and attach essentially, some were very specific jobs, and some were more of a career path, a field, if you will. If he can do it, you can do it. And there's something just beautifully simplistic about what he just did. This idea that you can do this work. And there's all different kinds of ways to make that unique contribution. And so that's what we look at here on the Ken Coleman Show. And I'll remind you that young Sam just went through and gave us a nice long list of ways that you can make a difference in the world. You use what you do best, your talent, to do the work you love, your passion, to produce results that matter deeply to you, your mission. That's working with meaning. That's the dream job. It's not about money. It's about impact. It's not about how many people know your name. It's about impact. It's not about how powerful you are. It's about your impact. And so that's what we talk about here on the Ken Coleman Show. And Sam, thank you for that inspiring reminder. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577 is the number. Let's go to Boston, Massachusetts, where Jill joins us. Jill, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Good morning, Ken. How are you?
Jill, I'm living the dream. How are you?
I'm a little bit chillier up north here, but I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. Well, you've already warmed my heart. I can tell you're ready for a breakthrough. So how can I help?
Okay, so I guess the gist of my question for you, I am 36 years old, married, have 2 kids, just trucking through 2020 here. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if I should continue to work, or if I should take a gap and focus on being more at home and being like the stability that my house needs.
Well, you've put me in a very personal question, which I do not mind being in the middle of, but I guess that anytime somebody asks me something that specifically personal, I ask you, as you started that question, where are you leaning in that situation, option A or B?
So I'm torn. I'm leaning more towards being home because, like I said, just that sense of stability. It gives my whole family that. But at the same time, I'm kind of like a workhorse, and I've always been a workhorse, and it's not necessarily a good thing. It has caused, a problem in the past between me and my husband because I'm always willing to stay late, go in early, pick up more.
Well, let's focus in on the fact that you're leaning towards the family. And would you say it's 60-40, 80-20, 70-30? Which way? How big of a ratio? It
tears me because at this point I would say with my heart 80-20, but with my head head, like 60-40.
Oh, good. Well, then we gotta go with the heart. And because you've heard me enough on this program, always do the heart test. We want the head and the heart to align. So we want to use logic, we want to use common sense, but we also want the head and heart to align. And I talk about that as it relates to work, but now we're talking about your family and those two kiddos. And I think at the age of 36, you've got Lord willing, a long, potential work future ahead of you when you choose, when it feels right to kind of get back in and pursue work that really fires your soul up. But with your kids being home, and you feeling this tug, if you guys can financially handle it, I think it's a no-brainer, and I choose the kids, and I think you take a gap year or 2 years or whatever it ends up being, but I think you trust your gut on this. That's what I think. Okay. Can you financially do it? You guys, I assume
we can. So. We're on the baby steps. We're on step 2, so I think that's the part that really kind of is where my head hurts. It's that, we were going full speed ahead, and we had like such great visions for this coming year. We discovered, yourself and Dave and everybody in late 2019, and we were just gung-ho for it. And obviously, everything stopped in its tracks. So it kind of, we can do it on my husband's salary. It's just gonna. How
much do you make right now?
Myself?
Yeah.
Personally, I make about 30 a year, 25 to 30.
And give me an idea, and I'm not holding you to this, but I'm going somewhere with this. If you come home, and you take a year, what does that year look like largely during the day? Are you doing projects at home? Obviously if your kids are not in school, I think in Boston, you're not in school. The kids are learning from home, so you're probably engaged there. Tell me what that looks like. You've envisioned this.
So it's going to look like the kids being home a lot. Right now we are actually just right outside Boston, so we're hybrid, which we're lucky. The kids are in school a couple days a week, and then they're home the rest of the week. Yeah. But every week things are changing, so I think it's going to look like
you're not sure.
It's going to look like me being involved. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just taking that plunge in a way, I guess, and it's that uncertainty of leaving everything, but
but it's going to be so much better in that you're anchored in the home. That's what you're feeling, correct?
Yes. Yeah. That's what I feel deep down inside. Yeah. It's that head and the heart.
Well, let's say that the hybrid model continues. There's no way to know, but let's say that it does. So a couple days a week, you're going to have a lot of time at the house. Now you got a ton of things to do, right? So you could keep yourself wildly busy. You're not going to be sitting around eating bonbons. We know that.
Correct.
But, I think it's possible as you move into this new space, since you're such a workhorse, go type of lady, that as you move into this new season, you might find that you could do some work from home and still be that rock of some sense of normalcy and steadiness for the kids and your hubs. So it's possible that you could eventually make some money on the side to where you're not completely going from 30 to 0. I'm just saying keep an open mind, because we just simply don't know how this is going to happen. But I just don't want you to have this narrative, and I don't think that you do, but I'm just calling it out. I just don't want you to have a narrative that, well, I'm going to step away from 30 grand to 0 and I'm just full-time mom, when that may or may not be the case. You may still be home, but maybe you can do some things, or maybe you have a side hustle or something like that that still allows you to be anchored. So keep an open mind as you move into this season, and keep an open mind to when you may go back and when you might not go back. But in this situation, I'm always going to tell our callers and the listeners who don't call in, you let your head do the logic, you run out the logic, and use common sense. And once you've run it out and it becomes a realistic opportunity, you got to follow your heart every time.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
You're an awesome lady. Hey, you're not done professionally, okay? I think you know what you need to do right now, and I think it makes you even more valuable, and you're not putting a lid on any professional endeavors of the future just because you're doing this. You're just not. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. Let's go to Erie, Pennsylvania. DJ is on the line. DJ, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, thanks for taking my phone call.
You bet. How can I help?
So I recently graduated in August with my master's of social work, and the next step is to get my license. And we're moving to Florida in a few months for my husband's job. And in Florida, I have to practice under someone that has their license for 2 years before I can sit for my exam.
Okay.
And there are a few jobs that will allow me to practice without my license, but they're competitive. So with me just graduating, I didn't know if you had advice because I don't have that much experience and stuff like that.
So you're saying that the
job.
couple of places that won't require, that allow you to kind of step in right now with the social worker degree, you're saying they're very, very competitive, meaning a lot of people going for it?
Yes.
Well, why not? Why not go for it? What's the worst that happens?
I want to go for it, but I just don't have. I just graduated in August with my master's, so I don't have
It doesn't
much
matter.
experience. Probably
Doesn't matter. Go for it anyway.
okay.
Now, I think you temper your expectations, right? And I think you have.
Right.
I mean, your response to me, almost you've tempered your expectations too much. So the way I would flip that is I would go, what do we have to lose, DJ? We have zero to lose. We go in with low expectations, but we give it a rip. I mean, get after it. Because I'm going to tell you what I think. Do I think experience matters? Yeah, I do think that experience matters more than classroom teaching. No question about it. But I also know that relationships and enthusiasm really matter too. And I know that you don't have a lot of relationships in Florida. Maybe you do. I don't know. Do you guys have any family or any friends down there where you're going?
No.
Yeah. So you got a couple things stacked against you. But why not go for it anyway? Everybody thought David was a lunatic. But Malcolm Gladwell, one of the great thinkers of our world. So whether you believe in the Bible or not, we know that David was an actual historical character, real person, really did defeat Goliath. Malcolm Gladwell wrote an extensive book. In fact, it sits on my shelf. And the reason I've got it on my shelf behind me is because I love it so much. And I don't know if you know this, but Gladwell wrote a book on it. Basically, did all this research. And while everybody thought that David, this small kid, was kind of a nut and a zealot for taking on Goliath with his slingshot, the fact of the matter is he basically entered a sword fight with a 9mm gun. That's effectively what the slingshot was back then. You ever thought about it that way before?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not saying that David didn't have faith, and I'm not knocking the old Bible story. What I'm simply saying is David went into that and he went, I feel pretty good about this. This guy's 9 feet tall, weighs 500 pounds. He's going to try to throw a spear at me. I'm a pretty quick little dude, and I got 5 bullets in my gun, and I'm going to whack this guy. I'm taking him down.
Yeah, I think I need to get more into that mindset because I'm just kind of intimidated.
Yeah, I get it. By the way, it's okay to be intimidated, but we got to look at it and go, what do we have to lose? This doesn't affect you. One iota. It doesn't hurt your career if you apply for those couple places and they go, hey, sorry, DJ, thank you. We're going to go with somebody who has more experience. Great. That's kind of what we expected. But why not give it a shot? Do you know, here's another little story for your mindset and for the rest of our audience, because I think more people than DJ need to hear this. There's a great book that is written on the power of the underdog, and it's all this research. And basically what they found, DJ, is that the reason why these sports teams that are the huge underdogs do these shocking upsets, whatever sport it is, how does the underdog that, like, everybody, the experts, even, everybody's kind of like, there's no way they could beat this team. And they pull off these stunning upsets. And the reason is they did all this research on it. It's because the underdog goes in with zero pressure because everybody expects them to lose. So they go in and they go, everybody else expects us to lose. We're going to give it everything we got, knowing that if we lose, it's what everybody has expected. And so let's give it a shot. And they hang in there and they play with this unbelievable confidence and zero pressure. And then guess what happens? A little bit into the contest, DJ, they're starting to make headway and they're showing a real nice effort. And the team that everybody's expecting to clobber them starts to feel the pressure. And so the pressure is what ends up becoming their ally. You're going to be up against some people who are going after this thing with massive pressure because they got all the experience, they got all the qualifications, and here comes DJ, fresh out of college, just a degree, Why not go for it? So,
Thank you. I needed to hear that.
Listen, you have nothing to lose. Try to find some connections. I'm going to give you what I believe is the difference maker. Okay? My gift, I'm going to give you my #1 best-selling book written on this very issue, The Proximity Principle.
Thank you.
Okay? And listen to me. This is the way to make connections down in Florida. This is the way to make your resume stand out. Okay? This is the way to beat the odds. It's called The Proximity Principle. And I want you to read it, and I want you to do what I write about, okay?
Okay.
And then
you
know
much.
what else I'm going to do for you, because you need the juice? You listen, you need to visit burstoralcare.com. I endorse
Can you say
this.
that again?
Burstoralcare.com. It's BURST oralcare.com. Okay? This is the toothbrush that I use. It's got charcoal bristles, and it's super soft, and you won't believe what it'll do to your teeth in about a week. You just won't even believe it.
Okay.
All right? And then
Will
a
this
little
help me
tip.
get a job?
It's going to help you smile bigger in the interview. So there you go.
Okay.
How about that? And just listen, when you go there, you need to use the code KEN, K-E-N. Now, you don't have to do this. I'm just recommending it to you. I'm going to give you a super exciting smile. How about that?
Okay.
Now,
all right.
That's up to
Can't
you.
beat that.
But stay on the line, and you're going to give Madison which format you want of the book, the audio book, the ebook, or the hard copy, whatever you want. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. Let's go to the chat room, and then coming up in about 3 or 4 minutes, I'm going to break it down for you people right here. Some of you are freaking out over the election right now. No judgment, no shame in your game, but you got all this anxiety. What's going to happen if this guy wins? What's going to happen if that guy wins? Whatever. I'm going to tell you what your response needs to be, and it's going to set you free. All right, let's go to the chat room. Maxine writes in, should I place my references at the top of my resume? Yes, but you should do it my way. And we've got the free resume guide at kencoleman.com. What we say is who I know, and we want some really strong endorsement statements from relevant people that either knows somebody in that company, or is ideally the hiring manager of some connection, or if you can't do that, I know that can be tough, then relevant people in the industry that stand out. So they go, wow, okay, this is impressive. But again, I tell you how to do it, and it's free. Download the resume guide at kencoleman.com. Go to our resources page. Chris writes in, I went through the Working Genius test from Pat Lencioni. We had Pat on last week. How would we go about using all those answers on a resume and in an interview? Okay, great question. Now, on the resume, as it relates to relevant skills, that's where you would put that information in there. You could also sprinkle that into any of your experience where you share the responsibilities and what you are responsible for. You can sprinkle that in kind of as a descriptor. And then the last piece is in the interview itself. You want to be able to have those answers readily available. You know, hey, I really thrive on this kind of work. That's why I applied for this. And describe yourself. So you read those results over and over again until they really right on the tip of your tongue, and you sprinkle them in effectively on every answer. That's how you would do that. Meg writes in, is a year long enough to start the conversation of a raise? I don't like bringing up the conversation of a raise. I actively teach, don't ask for a raise. What I do prefer, and a year in is when you do this, is if they don't have a practice like we do at Ramsey Solutions, every year on the anniversary of the date you start, you will get somewhere in that range of a week or two around that time, you'll do an annual review. And so if your company doesn't do annual reviews, you want to go to your leader and say, hey, can I do an annual review? I've been here for a year. I'd love to get your insight on how I'm doing. And in that conversation, basically say to them, hey, listen, what are some areas that I'm winning? Where am I winning? Where are some places that I could get better? What are some new things that I can learn that would make me more valuable to you and this team? Those kind of questions are amazing, and you get real good engagement. And so you get those answers. Then you say something to the effect of, well, listen, I would love to increase my responsibilities and thus my influence, and then as a result of that, my pay. my compensation increases when I understand when my responsibilities and influence grow. I'd love to do that, but I know that I got to nail the first two. Can we work together to come up with measurable goals, measurable results that would allow me to prove to you that I've increased my responsibilities, influence, and thus ultimately my compensation? So essentially, you're bringing up the increase in compensation, but it's not, hey, when can I get a raise or when can we discuss a raise? It's always pointing to, as you make yourself more valuable, you get a raise. And so you always want to point to results-based compensation. And so that's the right way to bring that up. And it's less of a defensive corner that you've put your leader in if you just bring up the raise. So that's how I prefer that you do that. 844-747-2577. That's the number to jump in, 844-747-2577. All right. I've got to address the elephant in the country right now, that we've got an election coming up. And, I'm reading all kinds of things about how people are having problems sleeping, all kinds of anxiety. And I don't say that tongue in cheek. I promise you, I'm not being sarcastic. If that's you, I'm not judging you. But I would tell you to seek help. But can I just drop a message right here for those of you who really are worried? Well, what's going to happen if the guy that I don't want gets elected? I mean, let's just boil it down. Whoever your guy is, okay, if he doesn't get elected, how's that going to affect you? Especially if you're very, very passionate about which way you want it to go. I mean, and there are voters all across the spectrum. Well, don't like this guy, so I'm going to vote for the other guy. Or I can't imagine life going forward if this guy gets elected. I mean, those are the extremes, okay? Wherever you are on the spectrum, I want to remind you something. Your response to the election results needs to be based on this simple truth. And I believe it's the truth. And you can decide. Your dream doesn't change as a result of who gets elected. I don't care if it's this year. I don't care if it's congressional elections. I don't care if it's your governor. I don't care if it's your mayor. I'm telling you that, yes, I do acknowledge that policies do affect our lives. I would be silly to say otherwise. I don't have my head in the sand. But I didn't say that your lives aren't affected. That's why you should vote. That's why you should have a voice. What I am saying is that your dream, that dream job, that purpose, that calling does not change based on who gets elected. It just doesn't. Are there circumstances and timelines that get affected by our politicians and the policies? Yeah, sure. But it doesn't extinguish, it doesn't make your dream evaporate. And so no matter what happens on election day or in the ensuing weeks, if this thing drags on and everybody starts to wring their hands, I shouldn't say everybody, it's not healthy to say, but a lot of people. And if you see riots, discourse, nastiness on social media, because it's nasty out there. If you even take a half opinion on social media these days, woo, Katie, bar the door. It's crazy. But let me tell you this. No matter what's happening around you in these coming days and in future elections, remember this. You get up and you keep on keeping on. You control how you think. You control how you act. And you have way more influence than you realize. But ultimately, your responsibility is to be the best version of you. That includes the best citizen version of you. That includes citizenship. And I can tell you this, at 46 years of age, Joe, you and I, and you're much older than me, I should point this out.
Well, thanks.
But we've been through a lot of elections. And we've been through elections that we didn't like.
Yep.
And yet we kept on showing up, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And our lives have gotten better as a result of us showing up. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have an opinion. I'm not saying you shouldn't care. What I'm saying is that whatever the result is, your dream is still there, and you can still go get it. Don't let any politician, don't let any poll, don't let any member of the media affect the way you think and the way that you act. Don't do it. You keep it on. Keep it on, as my dad used to say. Just keep it on. That's your response. That's your response. No matter how wildly crazy it may seem around you or what you're watching. Your purpose hasn't been eliminated. Your dream is not dead. Keep on. Keep it on. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. All right, Joe. It's one of my favorite parts of our show. Every Monday, we like to share updates from you, the people, from social media and emailing the show. ask@kencoleman.com. Use the subject line Momentum Monday. And these don't have to be dreams that you've stepped into. We'd love you to call in and do a dream scream if you stepped into your dream job. You can email us dreamscream, ask@kencoleman.com as well. But these are just minor updates, some bigger than others, but they're just momentum stories, little nuggets. And we love for you to share them. So please share them on social media. You can follow me on Instagram @KenColeman. And then you can email the show, ask@kencoleman.com. And we love to read some of those. So, Joe, let's get to Momentum Monday. All right, Jen is writing in from Ontario, Canada. She says, hey, Ken, I have embodied the proximity principle, and it has gotten me to my sweet spot. Yay, Jen! She started her career 6 years ago, sent out to work on different temporary work assignments and was making minimum wage. But she went above and beyond her job duties, and she introduced herself and her purpose to anybody that she could talk to. And she eventually got a full-time job as an account manager for a global food manufacturing company. 2 years into that role, she then moved into HR at that company. And then another 2 years after that, promoted to her current role of training lead, where she oversees all of the training programs. She was so enthusiastic, and still remains so, about delivering on her purpose every day. Listen to this: training others using effective methods like gamification. So what next? She's starting to look up. I love this. Higher up the mountain at global opportunities to work in a learning and development role. She said, you have been a mentor, and I want to let people know that the proximity principle works. Yes, it does. That's why it's a #1 best-selling book. And by the way, it's available, all 3 formats, one price. 3 books for one price at kencoleman.com. So how about that? Thanks for setting me up for a little book promo, Jen. All right, next. Kyle writes in. Ken, I was recently on your show. I called in and you gave me a copy of your book, The Proximity Principle. Did you set this up, Joe, this way? People are going to think that you're colluding.
No, not at all.
I'm so grateful for the generosity, and I'm diving into the book. I just want to say thank you, and I am now looking forward specifically to find new purpose in my life. I am all in. I'm not going to stop. So I love this email. This is Kyle. He's early on, but he's emailing in to say, I've decided. I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of discovery in that get clear stage, which is stage 1, but I'm all in. I'm getting after it, and I love that. That's fun. Okay, let's see. Mark writes in on social media at Ken Coleman at Instagram. Ken, I used the proximity principle, read the book, and even during the pandemic, I was able to secure a management position that is in my sweet spot starting next month. Yes. All right, Mark. Folks, again, we came up with the proximity principle on the radio show first. I was just giving advice. People are going, Ken, I know what I want to do. I don't know how to get there. Because the book is written for that. Now, I'm writing the 3rd book, my 3rd overall book, on the entire 7 stages. So for those of you who don't know how to figure out what it is, call the show, but that book's coming out. But we wrote the proximity principle. It kind of is like the prequel of Star Wars came out first. And this book is for people who know what they want to do, but they're not quite sure how to get there. So But we started talking about it on the radio show, and I just kept calling it the proximity principle. It says, in order to do what you want to do, stop overthinking it. You just got to get around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening. The right people plus the right places equals opportunity. Opportunity knocks on your door. It's like going to a train station. Okay, then it became a book. Joe, I didn't know it was a book. You didn't know it was a book.
Until you wrote it.
Yeah, that's true. Now it's a book. Number 1 bestseller. All right, Christine writes in. Been following you for about a month. And your post on Instagram helped me decide to shop my husband's resume. How about that? 2.5 weeks later, he accepted a promotion at a new company with a 40% raise and no more commute. Listen to this. Saving 2 hours a day and at least $6,000 a year in fuel. That's on top of the 40% raise. And this is great. She sent her picture in. That's really great. What a great wife she is. I hope the hub's like, I hope he's getting her some jewelry. Don't you think she needs some jewelry? I think so. For those of you who aren't from the South, that's jewelry. I'm having fun with saying jewelry. But let me tell you something. That's pretty awesome. That's really, really great. And by the way, we're getting more and more of those calls where spouses are calling. And Joe, I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago, we had a lady call in and she was asking for advice for her husband.
Last week.
Was it last week? Mm-hmm. All right, time flies when you're having fun. And I realized for the first time, folks, some of you may have been watching that day, was like, wait a second. This is on YouTube right now. Because I was trying to tell her all these things she needed to tell him. And I was like, wait a second. This will be on demand as soon as the show's over. So for those of you watching live right now, 12:36 Eastern Standard Time, as soon as the show's over, how soon before we post the show? Is it like within minutes or is it an hour?
It's after the show.
It's right after the show. Trevor, the YouTube genius, is in there today with his man bun, by the way. Guy's got the greatest man bun you've ever seen. Can we get that on the shot, Nathan? Go over there. I want people who are watching on YouTube. There he is, standing there next to Joe. There he is. Wave at the camera so they see. There he is. He's got a fantastic man bun. If I did that, I'd look like a complete idiot. He looks cool, but he's amazing. So I said to the lady, by the way, I have ADHD. In case anybody doesn't know, this is Exhibit A right there. So I said to the lady, I go, the show's going to be posted as soon as we're done. Make him watch this when he comes home from work. So I looked right at the camera and I just talked to the dude. So I'm saying all this for a reason. Joe's wondering, where is he going? Madison, you are too? All right, I'm going to tell you. Because I read that social media post about how that lady bought the book and started helping her husband with it. She went and got the resume guide and started shipping out her husband's resume. There are spouses that watch this and your heart hurts for your spouse who's miserable at work. So it occurs to me, call the show, okay? And I'm here Monday through Friday. We're live on YouTube, okay, at 12 Eastern Time, 11 Central. I'll give your spouse advice, and guess what? You just let them watch it later so you don't have to remember everything I tell you. You don't even have to take notes. Just tee me up. I'm going to look right at the camera, call your spouse's name, and I'm going to talk to your spouse. It's brilliant. You don't have to talk to them. Just put me on the spot. I don't mind making them uncomfortable in a good way. I'm going to nudge them. I'm going to push them out of the nest. And so then you kind of like, so now you will deal with maybe a little tension because you called and, so I thought about that too, Madison. No, I got a solution. Some of these spouses are going, oh my gosh, they'd be so embarrassed. They're going to get mad at me. I got it. Madison will change your name and their name. Not happy with your middle name? You wish you had a better middle name? What's the name you wish you always would have been called? We'll give you an alias. You call Madison. She will literally, you guys can come up with an alias. She's very creative. She'll come up with one for you, or you come up with one. We'll change the city that you're calling from, and we'll change your spouse's name. I got it. So then they watch it and they go, you changed my name and our location. You go, yeah, because I don't want to embarrass you. All I got are solutions. All day long, people. I solve problems. I figured it out. This is how we help your spouse. Change your name, their name, location. That's fine. It's protecting your privacy. And then I'll just teach right to them and everybody's happy. What do you think, Joe?
Sounds good, sir.
Yeah, I thought about that. In fact, I thought about it that day, and I because I have ADHD, I forget to remind myself to tell you folks. So, I'm having a little bit of fun today, but I'm really fired up because this is the world we live in. I can give you and your spouse direct access and advice, and they don't have to be on. So I know there's a lot of that out there. I hear that from Madison a lot. So I want to make it as easy as possible because we're not here to embarrass you or make you a prop. So I don't care if people know your real name or your city of origin. I don't care. Nobody needs to know. We just want to help you. Because I told Joe if we could get that voice decoder, people that are really embarrassed with like really touchy situations at work, you're like, Ken, I got a situation here. I need some advice, but I don't want my boss to know I'm calling. Well, we'll do the same thing for you. We've done that before. We'll do it again. We're here to help you. So I'm a man of the people, always going to be a man of the people. So there it is. All right, Joe. Got to get out of here. I can't stand it. I wish I had more time, but I got to roll. But before I do, you matter. You do have what it takes. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.